Hi everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we'll be completing in today's video, this happy fall bubble letter drawing. Since fall is starting very soon, this is a very simple but fun one to draw. We actually end up hand drawing all the letters, which I think is a very useful skill to have. We'll use a text layer as a guide and we'll use a grid as a guide, but then we hand draw all of it, which is really fun. So you really just need a guide and the right brush to be able to hand draw letters like this. So I hope that you enjoy it. So if you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe. I also offer extra tutorials over on Patreon, so that's linked in the description below. If you join us there, you get access to exclusive tutorials every month, along with sneak peeks of what we're drawing over here on YouTube and some other fun things as well. So here are some of the drawings that we have been doing over there lately. But before we get started on today's drawing, the only thing that you will need is the color palette and the custom leaf pattern brush that we use on the letters. I have them both linked in the description below. They're totally free to download. Just save both files to your iPad, and then for the color palette, just double tap it or click on it and click open in Procreate, and it will automatically pop into Procreate so that you can use the same colors as you follow along with the video today. And then for the brush, you just need to be in a canvas, open up your brush library, like so, be in whatever folder you want to be in. So if you have like a patterns folder or a custom folder, find whatever folder you want to be in, click the plus icon in the top right, and then click import and find the file wherever you downloaded it on your iPad to import the brush to use later on in the video. I will also post the canvas dimensions, color profile, and layers needed on the screen and in the description below so that you can use those to set up your canvas. So take a minute to get everything ready and then come back and we'll get started. Okay, this is the color palette that we'll be working with today. Very simple one today. So let's just go ahead and get started. We're going to set our background color first by going to our layer menu, clicking on this background color layer at the very bottom, and then selecting this first color on the first row of the color palette to set it to that color. Go back to our layer menu and we are going to be on layer 1. And the first thing that we're going to do is add our fall text. So we're going to actually lay down an actual layer of text, and then we're going to trace around it to make our bubble letters, and we'll make them really fun and stuff. So just right on layer 1 is fine. We'll go ahead and go to our gear icon, click add, and then add text. And it'll probably automatically add it on a new layer, but it's already selected. So let's just go ahead and click on our keyboard here to bring up our keyboard. I'll double tap the arrow icon to turn on caps lock, and we'll do FALL. Double tap it again to select it again. I'm going to change the color to orange just for the heck of it. So on our layer menu, I'm just going to click on this first color on the second row. Okay, still selected. I'm going to click this AA to bring up our font options. We're going to leave it on this default font, which is INA 01. But then we're going to increase the size quite a bit and increase the tracking quite a bit as well so that our letters are more spaced out. I'm going to zoom out a little bit on my canvas, stretch out this rectangle border, so with the 2 dots on the sides, stretch them out. We want them a good amount spaced out. I'm going to set the size to like 160 and the tracking to like 30. And then we'll just grab it with our arrow tool and we'll kind of move it around. I'm going to turn snapping on in the bottom left. And then I'm just going to snap it to the center of the screen where we see both of our yellow lines. So this one and this one. And then we can move around later if we need to, but I think this is a good place to start. Now I'm just kind of like imagining my bubble letters. So we're going to kind of draw around these. And even if my A comes out a little bit and my F comes out a little bit, I think they're still going to be a little too far apart, just barely. So I'm going to go back in, click on my text layer, click edit text. Double tap it to select it again, back to my AA, and we'll just bring the tracking down a little bit to maybe like 20%. So I'm going to stick with that. I think that looks better. So 160 for my size, 20% for my tracking, centered here in the center of my canvas. And now we can get started on actually making the bubble letters. So on our layer menu, we're just going to drag this layer 1 above our text layer since that one added itself on a new layer and we have this layer 1 that's blank. So now it's on top of my text. We're still on our orange color, first one on the second row. And we're going to first turn on our grid to help us. So under the gear icon, under canvas, click to turn on the drawing guide and then click edit drawing guide. We do want this grid here. I'm just going to make the size a bit bigger So essentially, I just want to use my grid to help me with the top and bottom of my letters. So kind of just whatever size works for you. Maybe I'll do like 200, and then I'm going to move this around with my blue dot to where, so like on my F here, I'm a little bit above it, a little bit outside of it, kind of all the way around. Mainly the top and bottom is what we're going for. So I want a line a little bit above my letters and a little bit below my letters, and we'll use that all the way down. So again, I'm at 207 for my size. I moved it around to where my F is kind of centered from top to bottom with a line slightly above it and a line slightly below it. And then it's the same all the way across. So then go ahead and click done. And that's just to help guide us. So we're still on our new layer. We're on our orange color. For our brush, we're going to be on the monoline brush. And we're going to adjust it a little bit. So to save our original monoline brush, we'll just make a duplicate of it. So slide to left and hit duplicate. New monoline brush that pops up, click on it, and then under stabilization here under the options, we're going to turn streamline up a little bit to maybe 80 and then stabilization up quite a bit to maybe like 50. And we'll see how that goes. You can mess around with those if you would like to, but you can just see like it just kind of makes your lines a lot smoother and easier to follow so they're not as choppy, especially if you like to draw kind of slow. It just smooths everything out. So we're going to use that to start work again on our new layer. My opacity will be at 100 for the brush and my size will do 30. And I'm going to start with the F. So essentially I'm just going to make like a bubble F around this. So I might start in between my two lines here, like maybe right about here. And we'll just kind of bubble, hit that top line, round the corners, hit the bottom line, round, up, round, and then kind of something like this. So that's the general idea. We're going to hit that top line, we're going to hit that bottom line, and we're just going outside of our shape the whole way to get a nice bubble letter. The monoline brush helps us get it nice and smooth, but do it again if you need to. But yeah, just kind of rounded corners, rounded angles, something like that. Fill that in. Beautiful. Same layer, we're just going to move on to our next one. So now the A, maybe I'll just start again at this like kind of top line. And we'll draw around. Again, drawing quicker gets you smoother lines, but the brush should help a little bit. Okay, and then we'll also make like a rounded piece inside. Something like this. Fill it in, and then we can always come through and smooth it out. So this is just kind of our starting point. Okay, then the L's, same thing. I'll maybe just start on the side, hit that same top line, down, hit that same bottom line, around all the way around. Fill it in. Fill it in. Okay, that looks great so far. I'm just going to kind of touch everything up a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of smooth some lines out, but we want it to be kind of fun. I'm going to have the same brush set for my eraser. Mine is like the Monoline 3 brush. And we'll kind of use that to, erase as we need to as well. So smooth anything out with either your eraser or your pen. And you don't have to be exactly on the line, like the line is really just a guideline at the top and bottom, so if you're a little off on some of them, that's okay. But just a nice smoothing out of that. That's all we're really looking for. I felt like I didn't have enough of like a gap here, so I'm just kind of widening it, but keeping everything nice and like rounded on the corners. Okay, but then once that's all cleaned up, that is how we're looking, this nice, beautiful little piece, like fall piece. So then on our layer menu, I'm just going to go ahead and delete the text layer. So boom, get rid of that. We just have our layer 1. If you need to do any adjusting at all, go ahead and grab it on uniform or freeform if you want to like make it taller or wider or anything like that. feel free to adjust it. We want it to take up a good room on our canvas, so I'm going to make it quite a bit bigger now that it's all done and recenter it on my center yellow lines. And then once we recenter it and we like the way it looks, like I have a good amount of space on each side, I'm actually going to move it slightly to the right and slightly down. So that is where we're going to keep it slightly to the right because we're going to make like a shadow and 3D effect on the left side, and then slightly down so that we have so that we can write the word happy on top of it and have it look kind of all centered. But we can move things around later again if we need to. But let's go ahead and place it there for now. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and make that 3D effect. So on our layer menu, we're going to slide to the left on this fall layer and hit duplicate. Grab the bottom one. Click on it and turn on alpha lock. Go to our color palette, grab the second color on the second row. Back to our layer menu, click on this layer with alpha lock turned on and click fill layer. So it changes to a darkish brown color, but we don't see it since it's underneath our orange layer. Click on it again and turn alpha lock off. And then with our arrow tool, we're just going to move it down and to the left a little bit to give that 3D effect. So just something like that, pretty simple. Then we are going to connect all these now. So that's why we turned alpha lock off. So we have the same color selected, second one on the second row, same monoline brush at 30%. And we can just go through and connect these little pieces on the corners. So where the corners kind of have a disconnect here, we'll connect it so it looks like it's one big block letter instead of that separation. So you won't have to do it for every corner, but because this one's like totally fine there, but then this one where there's this gap, we just want to connect it and make it look like a seamless kind of transition. Use your eraser at times if you need to as well. So just always using like an angled line to connect it, kind of rounding it a little bit as we see fit as well. Yes, on the F, it was the top left, the bottom right, and then the two right side pieces. Then for the A, we'll do the top left corner, this corner here, and this corner here. And then that should be it for the A. So then the L's just each should have one on the top and then one on the bottom right side. Awesome. Now we can use this layer to make a shadow as well. So this is kind of our 3D effect. Now we'll add a shadow on the bottom left side. So on our layer menu, we'll make a duplicate of this brown layer now. So slide to the left and hit duplicate. Select the bottom one, click on it and turn alpha lock on again. So we can recolor it. So on our color palette, grab the third color on the second row. Back to our layer menu, click on this layer and click fill layer. Again, it's below our other one, so you can't see it yet. But now again, click on it and turn alpha lock off. And then very, very lastly on our layer menu, click the N to open up our options here and change this layer style and change it up to multiply. So this will give a nice shadow color. Arrow tool down and to the left again. And since we already drew those like angled lines, we can kind of just line it up again. So it's just kind of like even just a further extension of that. So just kind of pick a corner to use like this F1 and just kind of make it look like it seamlessly comes off of that, and it should look about the same all the way around. We're going to blur it too, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but something kind of like this. Now we'll do the blur, so wand icon, Gaussian blur, and we'll drag this up to maybe 10%. Give a nice blur there, 8 to 10%, somewhere in there. Beautiful. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and make our word happy. So on our layer menu, let's just add a layer to the very top. Grab our brownish color again, second one on the second row, and our monoline brush still under the calligraphy tab, the one that we made with the streamline turned up. And we are essentially going to just hand draw this word in cursive or however you want to do it. So adjust your brush if you need to, but I just kind of started going and that's kind of, it feels good to me, but adjust the streamline if up or down further if you need to. I'm still at 30% for my size. Okay, and we're essentially just going to pick 3 squares here to use that are empty. So above our fall, 3 squares, and that's what we're going to use. So We're going to draw in like cursive, or you can draw however you want to, but I'm essentially going to start my H like the first loop. I'm going to start on a line, and then we're going to go up to the next line and down all the way to here for our P. So that's why we need 3 squares, 4 lines technically. So if these are our 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, we're going to start on this second one down. So I'm just going to start there. Lengthwise, it doesn't really matter, so just kind of anywhere. I'm going to start here on the second line down. I'm going to go up to the next line, down to this line. That's going to start my H. Then I'm going to do the hump up to the next line, the A to the next line, and then the P will go down to the line below it, like so. So this is kind of how we can use those grid lines to help us. Okay, and then we'll just obviously finish with another P and a Y, like so. But I'm going to do that again in like a much smoother, just all in one probably motion, but just wanted to kind of give you the guideline there. So however you want to do it. Like so. So I might do it again and just be a little less rigid with it so it has like a little bit more character. Beautiful. That looks great. So my P's aren't like the same length, but I think that looks kind of nice. So whatever you ended up with, once you're happy with it, I'm going to grab it with my arrow tool on uniform. I'm probably going to downsize it a little bit and just recenter it on my center yellow line right above my word fall, like so. And then if we need to move everything around, you can do so. So if it looks like too far up or too far down all together, you can grab all your layers by selecting one, sliding right on all the others on your layer menu so they're all selected, and then grabbing your arrow tool, and then you can move it around again. So then you can recenter it on your center yellow lines or anything like that. But that looks great. Now we're done with our grid, so I'm going to turn that off. So gear icon, turn off the drawing guide. And now we just need to add all of our little decoration to it. So we're first going to add to our fall word. So find the orange layer for that, add a layer right above it. Click on it and set it to a clipping mask. And then grab our leaf color, which is our yellow color, first one on the last row, and your special leaf brush that you should have downloaded. Or you can alternatively, you can draw them freehand if you would like to. It just will take quite a while, but if you just want to do a few leaves, you could just freehand them with like the monoline brush again, just freehand some leaf shapes in this yellow color, whatever you want to do across the whole front of this word. But for my custom brush, I have the opacity at 100, the size at 100, and I'm just going to go over the word like this without picking my brush up at all. Go over it a good couple times without picking it up to make sure it's all covered. Beautiful. Then we're going to recolor some of them. So on our layer menu, click on this layer and turn on Alpha Lock. Go back to our monoline brush. You can use either the regular monoline brush or the new one that we made, and grab our second color on the bottom row, the red. And we'll have our size at 30%, and I'm just going to pick a few of these to kind of recolor. So I'm just going to go over them with this brush here and there. Just pick a few random ones. So I'm probably going to try to do like an even split of them. So kind of like every other one, but whatever works. Maybe a little bit more yellow than red is fine. Trying not to do any like right next to each other necessarily, but you know, whatever works. So I'll just move over to the A and do the same thing. You can also like color drop into these, but then you might get like a fuzzy yellow edge. So that's why I prefer to turn on Alpha Lock and color over them. That is just my preference. Because then you know you're getting the whole layer. or the whole piece of that layer there. Okay, so once I've recolored a few to that red color, that is it for that step. The very last thing that we're going to do is add a few more kind of in the background. So on our layer menu, let's just add a layer to the very top and grab our cream color, second one on the top row next to our background color. Same monoline brush. I have the smooth one selected, or the one that we adjusted to be smoother. And the first thing I'm going to do is draw a few more leaves in the background. So just kind of around my words here, I'm just going to draw a leaf shape. Very simple. So I just start at the bottom and a point, come up, down, up further, back down to create like the three sides of the leaf. Fill that in. So I'm going to grab it with my arrow tool, rotate it maybe a little bit and place it kind of just off to the side here. And then I want to make a few more of those, all kind of a similar size, maybe a little smaller than that. So I'll downsize that one a little bit. So now I have that one to kind of go off of. So then I'm going to make another one maybe up here pointing like upwards. And trying to match kind of a similar size. If you ever get another one that you need to adjust, if you click the arrow tool, it selects both of them since they're on the same layer. But if you grab your selection tool, set it to freehand, make sure color fill is turned off, you can select around one, grab it with your arrow tool, and then you can resize it or rotate it or replace it or place it somewhere else if you need to, since we're on the same layer. But I'll do one there, and then I'll do another one on this left side or this right side going the other way. Fill that in. Again, maybe that one's a little big. Okay, and then I'll do a few on the bottom as well, kind of matching that same idea. Pointing downwards. And then maybe like outwards on the right and left side. Tilt your canvas if you need to help you with this. Okay, so something like that kind of all around it. And now that that's done, I feel like I want the whole thing to be moved up a little bit. There's like more dead space on the top, which is okay, but I just kind of want everything to be a little higher now. So now I'm going to grab it, move it up a ways. Something like that. So I kind of recenter this whole thing on both of my yellow lines there now that those leaves are in place. So that looks great. Same layer at the top here, we're same color. I'm just going to increase my size to 100%, and we're just going to make a few dots to kind of finish out the rest of it. So I'm just going to tap around the outside of everything to make a few just like finishing touches. Like so. So do as little or as much of the dots as you would like. And then once you're done, that is it for our drawing today. So a very simple one, but very fun. I'm just so excited for fall. They're my favorite thing. That's my favorite time of year to draw things. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up so that YouTube shows it to more people. It really helps out my channel, so I really appreciate it. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on any future tutorials. And then if you would like to share a drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it. So go ahead and post it there and then tag me so that I can check it out. And while you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks so much for watching.